Hello everyone and welcome back to another homebrew workshop video. In this video we're going to take a look at the disguise kit and see what we know about it for D&D 5e so far, and then look at how we can make it a little bit more interesting for use within our home game. So without any further ado, let's take a look at what the disguise kit has to offer. So what do we know about a disguise kit? We know that it weighs 3 pounds, costs 25 gold pieces, and allows you to make any sort of proficiency bonus additions when applicable for whatever your DM might rule for it. Now, that's interesting and allows you to do a few different things, but how can we make it a little bit more interesting and fun to play with within our home games themselves? Well, let's take a look at what sort of objectives that we can end up establishing here. Similar to the other videos, I think objective 1 will be making it as a tool that you can earn money via a trade. Tools as a trade for money. Basically, someone skilled in making disguises or costumes or props should be able to produce these things as a tradesman within the world and have a way of earning money to support themselves in their own kind of lifestyle. So let's take a look at how we can achieve objective 1. The production of a disguise or a mask, because I don't know about you, but what I immediately picture when I'm thinking of a disguise kit is a Mission Impossible, almost identical and indistinguishable mask that makes you somebody else. At its best qualities, that should be what this can emulate. And at its lowest qualities, you have a masquerade mask, where it ends up just being something that, yes, everybody knows it's not real, but at least it's fun. And so what you're able to do is produce a number of different disguises. When you create one of these disguises, you can consult the disguises table right here to determine the materials and time costs associated with the work that you're hoping to do. Describe what you're going to be trying to create, and your DM will specify the quality of the disguise that you've described. These disguises can be of a low, moderate, high, exceptional, or mastercraft quality, and each one will have its own gold piece cost to actually produce. From there, you have time costs in hours and a modifier in uses, but we'll get to modifier and uses later. Right now, if you were to make a low quality mask, it would cost you 10 gold pieces and it would take 1d4 hours to do. From there, you can end up taking things and they have a gold piece value of basically the value of the materials plus a number of d10 equal to the quality modifier. And so if you have a low quality mask or low quality disguise, that's not going to fool anyone, but that's not necessarily, it's not trying to be the hyper realistic I am somebody completely different kind of a thing. It's for a theater production or a ball or kind of another thing. It's not necessarily a deceitful production use item. However, it does have value, so it'll cost 10 gold pieces to make. You can expect to get at the very least 10 gold pieces out of it, and it will be another 1d10 gold pieces on top of that, based on kind of what the quality of the mask might be. And so from there, you can look at different other quality masks based on what you're hoping to describe. And if you describe something that is, extreme and very, very, very high quality, where it's, not necessarily that top tier, but something relatively close, you could be looking at something that is a high or exceptional level quality. And from there, it's either a 50 or a 100 gold piece base value. Right now, we'll go with a high value mask. The high quality mask would be 50 gold pieces. It would take you 3d4 hours, and you would have another 3d10 that you could count to add to it for a gold piece value. From here, what you're able to do is lean into the I am a mask salesman. I am a disguise salesperson. I'm going to end up, leaning into the arts and selling things to either nobles for their own uses or to general people at festivals or for plays or stage plays or musicals or anything else along those lines. Those allow you to make money for a downtime production window where you can just make these kinds of things almost for fun, but also still have an ability to earn money for it. And that'll allow you to sustain yourself as a tradesperson within the world. So, now that we've achieved objective 1, let's see exactly how can we achieve our second objective here. Objective 2, active production that highlights interest within the field for being a kind of mask salesman or someone that uses a disguise kit. How do we highlight how cool a disguise kit can actually be? Well, I think what we do is relatively simple. Looking back at the disguises table again, we're going to look at the modifier and the uses column this time. Whenever you make a mask, it can serve this dual purpose. It can be a basic, I'm just going to sell this for money kind of a disguise, or you can end up having it be a disguise that allows you to benefit most directly in terms of like I'm going to use this. And so these disguises have a DC modifier associated with them. A person can tell that the mask is a mask and not actually your true face or person with a successful investigation check against the mask DC. This is a DC that's equal to the crafter's proficiency bonus and the mask quality level. So 10 is a base, plus your proficiency bonus as the crafter, plus the mask's quality level modifier. This is kind of determined at the time of construction. That way you can't necessarily make a mask at level 1 and then, always kind of just have it leveling up as you go. It has to be reflected in your skill at the time. And so you can be making masks throughout the campaign, making a variety of different things. But whenever you do make it and you add it to your inventory, you calculate what this DC is and put it within the notes. That would be my recommendation. This kind of allows you to conceal your identity as long as you're wearing it. But once an investigator identifies that the mask is a mask, you run the risk of them taking further actions to determine your real identity. As you would imagine, if you're going to be doing some sketchy stuff and you're wearing a mask, everyone's going to want to know who the dead president's brigade is, right? That kind of a thing. While wearing a mask, though, you may add the modifier to any charisma checks that you make as the disguised individual. This means that you can add it to any persuasion, intimidation, and deception checks that you make. And if applicable, the DM may also grant you advantage based on the description of the mask in use. This is a little bit more of a gray area, but it's interesting still. You can lean into a few different things with these masks. You can try to make it so that you are a contact, that you know someone is going to be trying to meet. You can then try to BS your way through a discussion with them by leaning on the fact that the mask is so convincing that you're able to be a little bit more persuasive or intimidating or deceptive based on the fact that you just are playing at being this other person entirely. Or, based on the description of the mask, maybe it's specifically made to be intimidating. Maybe it's like a war mask that is specifically supposed to throw somebody off. Maybe it's something that allows you to have a little bit more of a removed quality where you don't see yourself in kind of the actions that you're able to take, or people don't know necessarily who you are, so you can lean into being this other person and have that confidence to do these things. That's how you can lean into that aspect of it. But it's a gray area because it depends on your playstyle and how you and your DM work around it. You can end up gaining advantage on intimidation checks, though, potentially, if it's a very intimidating mask. Or you can end up having a persuasion check advantage if this is potentially something that would be very persuasive or leaning into kind of that aspect of things. Now, these kind of masks are limited use. A low quality mask can be used an infinite amount of times, but it's really unlikely to fully conceal your identity. From there, as you go higher and higher up, you get less and less uses. So from low, which is infinite, to moderate, which the mask will eventually just kind of tear or break or wear out after 4 uses. So you'll have it 4 separate times, and it's a little more convincing. High, it has 3 separate times, but it's still even more convincing. Exceptional, you can only really use it twice. And then Mastercraft is a one-time use. I need to make this to pull off a specific thing. I don't care what happens after. It is done there. But it gives you a +5, which means that it is very difficult for somebody to actually determine that it's you underneath the mask. It is that much more convincing. So, knowing this and looking at our goal area, I believe that we have achieved Objective 2 by allowing us to highlight the uses for in-game mask construction and utility. So, I think that'll do it for the video for the disguise kit. Thank you all for watching. Well, next time we'll look into some more of our homebrew tool systems. But otherwise, thank you all for watching, and be good to one another. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.